I'll move my pizza.
All right.
Oh,
So, welcome to the 10th installment of the show I can never remember, so we're not going to call it anything. And this wonderful group of people all over here are some of my favorite people in the Northwest, all of the Tabors. Hi, Tabors.
hi.
Hi.
What are you doing with all of this stuck at home thing?
We're not stuck at home.
Home. Stuck at home.
Actually, not too stuck at
They're
home.
all
I'm sort of
working.
stuck at home.
Okay, so
We're working. No, we're working.
I'm working.
We're working.
I'm working.
Work.
Oh yeah, he's working from home. To point the right way.
Right.
Yeah.
He's
Sorry,
working from
this
home.
is backwards.
I need my
Yeah.
co-driver. I don't know my lefts are right. So
no, that's okay.
My co-driver's over there.
She's
There.
over.
There.
nope. Keep trying.
Okay.
Nope.
There
nope,
you are.
nope. I know.
Up there.
It's
Okay.
like looking in a mirror, Kristen. Like looking in a mirror.
Yeah, everything's mirrored. I don't quite get that.
Okay, cool.
Anyway.
Cool.
All right. Well, so okay, tax time is an odd time right now. How about that? I mean,
Yeah,
Hmm.
that's odd.
Yep.
Yes,
That's it.
sucks.
There you go. You covered it. Moving on.
that's it. Moving on. Okay, so
It's just
Rally.
not existent now because it's, or not right at this time because it's been pushed off for several months.
Yeah, no, that's not the way it works.
Well,
We're not going to talk about.
The first person that mentions stimulus checks, you owe me. So don't ask me how to find yours. I'm not going to tell you.
I have
No idea.
I already got mine. It's partially spent. So
I didn't get mine yet.
Uh-oh, you always...
Okay, so-
$20.
I didn't mention it. I didn't mention it.
Rally. We're not talking about taxes. What?
You brought it up.
I did. I
You did, yeah. It's all your fault.
neighbors and not like talk about accounting in general.
But now that we have that out of the way,
We have that out of the way. That was the first
Moving on.
2 minutes. That's it. We're done. Rally.
Bye.
Good.
Okay. So, where did it all start? Who started it?
I did.
That guy, that old guy over there.
Actually,
So-
my father and I started it when I was junior or so in high school. He took me on my first road rally. It was not a race rally. It was a road rally. And we did that a couple of times. Blew the fan belts and stuff off of my mother's MG 1100. Had to take the grill out so it would self-cool on the drive back down Route 66 outside of Washington, D.C. That was my mother's car. She was not happy. And she didn't like the racing stripes I put on it either. But anyway, that's kind of how it started. I then wrote some rallies for the car club while in high school. And then we moved, or I moved back. I drug my wife along back to Oregon. And 25 years later, a couple of people discovered Performance Rally.
23
Mark,
years,
Kristen,
technically.
and Matthew and John, the youngest, and 22, whatever. They went up to a doo-wops rally. Doo-wops.
Right.
Was it a
Uh,
doo-wops?
do it.
Well,
Yeah,
first
it
it
was
was
a
raindrops,
doo-wop.
but
Yeah.
Well, the raindrop.
Yeah.
Raindrop.
That was a
That
yeah.
was
We
a
toured. We did the
TSD
tour.
TS did. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
where John and Brant came up in the MG, and you and Mom came up in the MG,
Oh,
and I
that's
came
right.
over from
Yes.
Ellensburg in
Right.
my Suzuki Sidekick with my friend.
Ooh.
which is
my
probably
friends.
the only thing that actually still ran at the end of it.
Yeah,
Could be.
well, he
my
trophied
friend, my
it.
friend Stephen and Dave. I did. Yeah, I did. That's right. Yeah, I got a novice trophy. That's right.
That's right.
So,
But doo-wops was the first one you guys worked.
Performance Rally.
Yeah,
Was it
90.
doo-wop?
That was 96.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh, that was a long
And-
time ago.
Back then, doo-wops was 2 weekends, about a month apart.
right.
And they drug my wife and I, Janice, right? Yeah, up to the second one, and they probably put
Check
us
her
in
ID.
some sort of timing control function. We had no idea what to do, but we survived.
Okay.
And,
Yeah, we tend to show up at rallies and work all of the timing controls for a stage because there's enough
Yeah.
of us. So
Yeah.
that was handy.
At both
Okay.
ends sometimes.
yeah, that
Yeah,
was
well, that's
in
right.
that was in March, and then by I think it was
June, I think.
May or
June, yeah.
June,
May.
we bought the Corolla.
Yep.
Toyota.
Toyota.
You-
And we had this wonderful idea. And at that time, the youngest son, John, was also a driver. Kristen was not, so that was a good thing.
She was
we-
a
hey.
navigator.
We
Sort
said
of.
we would want to share the driving, over this series of rallies.
Well, no,
how
the theory.
far
No,
that
the
went.
theory was is that the kids would rotate around driving and navigate between 2 cars, and 4 kids could share 2 cars. That would totally work.
Well,
Totally
we
fine.
hadn't bought the
Yeah, no.
we hadn't bought
Didn't
the
work.
Sentra until July, but yes.
But we actually ran them both in June of '98 at the Oregon Trail Rally because that was our first.
Right.
Right.
We
Yeah.
built the Sentra, and then we had the Corolla, and we're learning the things we didn't like about that.
Right.
And
I like the Corolla.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
we
much
would.
so you flipped it on its lid.
Just once.
Yeah. Just once.
Yeah, but you got on ESPN, didn't you?
I did.
we
I got the end for flipping it on my lid. So,
Yep.
that was Rim of the World. Chris Hale was co-driving for me, and we
The in-car is hilarious.
the in-car is hilarious. Yeah. So and the funniest thing is that we had gotten to the first stage after getting hooked on a guardrail, and then we got off, made it through the first stage, and we made it between stages. There was a guy that we were kind of hanging out with before the rally, Tissot in the Volvo. Yes, and he was sitting there alongside the road, and I turned to Chris and I said, "Dude, we could just stop and hang out with the Tissots, and then go back and start tomorrow." And he's like, "No, let's just go. So we said, "Okay, we'll just motor through the second stage. We would get back down to service,
Right.
kind of reset.
You never
things."
motored anywhere.
No, we were motoring pretty good, but then we kind of were getting into a groove,
Yeah.
and and then we weren't into a groove. We kind of
And then you yeeted it into a mountainside.
Yeah, we kind of actually drove up the mountainside, and we were kind of the road kind of came in around and then went around.
The road didn't go the way you went. Is the bottom line.
Yeah, we came in
You
and then
made your own
going
way.
this way rather than going around the road, and then we were gonna be fine as the road went around.
Gonna be.
But
Except,
no, you can watch the video on the video.
It
They
was
slow it
gonna
down
work
on
out great.
ESPN.
But
It was going to work out great, and then it always works. It's always going to work out great until it doesn't,
You
right?
seem to have an affinity for driving up the bank and then rolling it over. Isn't that what happened to the Great WRX?
Yeah,
Oh, that's another story.
yeah, that's
Same
another
thing,
story.
right?
Finish this one. That sounds
yeah.
good.
So we were going, and then you could see on the video, there's this huge tree root that sticks out of the side of the hillside, and if that hadn't been there, we probably would have gone, ended up on the road, sitting kind of sideways, still blocking it, but
always
on our
landscape's
wheels.
It's a landscape.
But then we
Yeah.
down and then upside down.
Kind of rolled.
And then you said
That was
that-
after passing those two in the 323.
Oh,
Yeah, we had the.
Why were you
Mazda
stopped,
323
Kristen?
then.
Do you
yeah,
remember
why were we
you stopped?
stopped? I don't know. There was
Kristen?
something about
Kristen?
some Gatorade and
So the
So-
Rim of the World rally is very, very brutal and very rough, and everybody gets sick.
Before
Not
she-
just
before she-
drivers too.
Before you tell the story though,
But
Kristen,
in
here's
this
the thing.
case, it was
As we're cruising up to them, just before there's a bit of a long straightaway, and we come around the corner, and there's a little hump in the middle of it. Okay, and it's like concrete. It's like broken concrete, and I can see that they're in the 323 GPX, and at this hump is chunks of metal and.
No, that was not
And then
us.
at the end of the straightaway,
us.
sitting straight after the road goes this way, is Mark and Kristen in the 323, and I'm like, oh, they took the bottom off the transmission or something, and
No.
so I was like, oh, okay, well, we'll see them later, I guess. And then we went on. And
Yeah,
then,
and
but why did you stop
Yes,
actually?
and then upside
well,
down.
we stopped for some throwing up action. But the
Yeah.
next day we actually did the same thing, and we did shear the rear bolts on the we
Yes, we did.
for about 30 miles
Yes, we did.
on the
That was
pavement back to
perfect.
Lake Hughes. That was
It was
Yeah.
exciting. No, my
Sorry,
favorite
my
part.
dog was stealing something off the table.
My favorite part of Matt's story is after they're upside down on the in-car, what you hear Matt say to Chris is, do you remember how to do this? And
Yes.
all you hear from Chris is clink, chunk, reek goes the door,
And he's
and
gone.
then footsteps running away as he's running down the road with the triangle and the OK sign. And
And
Matt
I
goes,
actually said,
I guess you do.
yes, you do, because he was gone.
I mean, just unhooked to the roof, out the door, down
And
the way.
if you ask Chris about it, he says all I could think about is there was a car coming behind us, and I had to get the triangle out so he wouldn't hit us because we were kind of blocking the road, part of the road.
Mhm.
And he said, all I could do is I got to get out of here. So he just out he went, grabbed the triangle, and said he remembers running down the road and feeling kind of like Kristen was, a little nauseous and stuff, kind of like weaving, going, triangle, must put out the triangle. Fun. And so the sweep vehicle, the way they ran sweep at Rim of the World was they had a fast sweep which come along, and if they couldn't like give you a quick yank and send you on your way, they took your time card and you're out. Then behind them they had what they called slow sweep, which in this case was a minivan filled with like linebackers.
No, it wasn't a minivan. Wasn't that Mike Jabot's Moby Dick, the white van?
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
I've ridden that a couple times.
It was a van, and it was filled with guys like the size of linebackers, and they pull up, and the fast sweep says, well, they took our card and took off, and so the slow sweep pulls up and like opens up and out piles like the linemen, and they're like looking at it going, I think we could put this back over, and they go onto its side and onto its wheels, and they're like, hold on just a minute, give it a minute, let the oil drain out of the head, and then we fired it up and drove it off the stage. So it was fun.
But before that, it was a slow action stage, and ESPN came along. You must have been the only.
I had
wreck.
in-car. Yeah, I was the only action for the Friday night because
Yes.
the ESPN got that was when SCCA had a deal with the ESPN to have rally on ESPN, and
on the highlight reel.
on the highlight reel. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yes.
So they're like, hey, did you have in-car? I said, yeah. He's like, send it to me. I'll put it on. So I sent it to him. We got on ESPN.
They interviewed you. They interviewed you.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, they
Kneeling
had a
in the
camera.
back of your upside down.
Right before they put the car back over, they.
On the internet?
Yes,
It's
yeah, it does.
somewhere on
I
the
can find it.
internet.
Please
I'll
find it.
I'll find it. Oh, okay, hold on. Give me a minute.
There's
Give me a
a-
minute.
There
I'll
are
find
other
it.
things on the internet too,
Yeah, you
aren't
need
there,
to find the
Kristen?
girls.
No.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Wait. Pause.
We didn't
Pause.
know Mom knew
got a
those
question.
words.
Slow down, you're confusing him.
Yeah,
I
seriously.
know. We've had some great
Okay, so
events.
there is
in
a
California.
Tabor sibling, right?
Mhm.
Yeah,
Correct.
John.
Yes.
Okay, so John, you said that he drove, but now he doesn't.
Yes,
Clearly.
Correct.
he is credited with rolling number 2 Sentra after hitting a big rock that somebody else knocked out of the side of a hill at
Rim of the
World.
Yeah.
And rolled it 2.5 times uphill.
Yeah.
He was a very fast driver, but not necessarily always on the road.
Okay, and then he was just done.
He got married.
Got married.
Wild West was his big accident. He was coming. He was coming down. He was catching somebody. He was in the dust. He was following the tree line because he couldn't see where he was going.
Pat Richard, who had a
Road
flat.
turn, and
No, it was now Harada.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Oh, that's,
So
I
he
thought it was
went
Pat Richard.
went
No.
flying
Yeah,
up,
geez, Matt.
Whatever.
hit the
Somebody.
driver's side, his side. Luckily, he had Kevin Poyer in the car.
Poor Kevin.
About 15 feet up on a tree, turned
can
it just
start it
enough
off.
to where he could
Yeah.
slide into the tree and then
17.5
down.
inch around Douglas fir. He cut
Snapped
in
it over.
half.
Yeah.
Illegal logging.
With
Really
And we,
long, yeah.
Sentra.
and we had
That was
then we
Sentra
had
number
we had
3.
in-car and we
Yes.
played it at the finish
the
page,
bar.
over
The finish,
and
everybody-
over and it turned into like a JFK movie. Back
Back and to the left.
To the left.
Back.
Yeah,
Well,
I would have
whatever.
been sick on that one because that was before he had neck restraints,
Yeah, so-
and there was a
yeah,
lot
that
of
was-
movement.
Yeah,
That
there
was
was.
scary.
to watch.
yeah.
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 Now
that
the
was
in-car when
fun.
the girls rolled Sentra number 3 after we repaired it from Johnson. Well,
no, that was number-
slower
that was-
and more
No.
interesting.
That
Number
was 2 that he
two.
did that to. Number 3
was
is
2.
what they rolled.
No,
Yes.
two
No, I rolled
was-
3.
We have too many Sentras.
I thought Kristen rolled 1.
No,
One
no.
has never been caged. One is the original. It's never
Oh,
been caged.
that's right. Sorry.
2 was John.
Yeah.
3 was
No.
mine. 4 is Dad.
Yeah.
Oh, their internet is laggy. so
3
they
was
can't
okay.
tell the
They
story.
froze. They Walt Disney'd it.
That's all right.
Well,
Well, they'll be back.
They'll be back soon.
They're on commercial break. Quick, talk about it.
Okay, so Matt was in the Corolla. Kristen and Mark were in a 323.
323.
And then how did we progress from there?
Rapidly.
We finished, didn't we? I think we actually finished the event that year.
Yeah, I think you did. Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
it
'cause
wasn't great. You threw up on
Every stage.
Well, you threw up on Lachlan's dad's shoes.
Yes,
He pulled my hair.
that's right.
He plugged my braid, and that was.
They're twins.
Oh, look, they're in here twice.
gosh.
We're back.
Oh my god!
We're back.
Oh, jeez.
Wow.
Now you're in a
Uh-oh.
different place. Now I don't know what to point.
Down into the left. Down.
Yeah, down into
Mom,
Hey.
you're on the wrong side.
Oh no.
If you're on the wrong
I
side,
can't sit on this side of you.
you can't.
I can't move you guys. So you're just gonna
Can you slide the tiles around?
Okay.
So we should give Mark
Just
the
feel-
chance to tell about the great chase
With Lachlan.
Oh, with
Lachlan
Lachlan.
O'Sullivan.
Where you got your running career started.
Yes, where you got your running career started.
Well, yeah, that was another rim story, and
all the good stories seem to be happening at Rim.
I had
Rim.
let's see, I had
It was
moved
Rim.
and I was gonna co-drive because I had crashed the GTX, and it was actually I think Matt Oram has that car now, or actually I'm not sure who has that car anyway.
Yeah, it might be Orem. Yeah.
But anyway, and so I was going to try my hand at navigating. It sounded like such a fun thing. So I went to Rim thinking I was navigating for a new kid in an older Celica, but instead I had to step into Lachlan's Eclipse in a PGT car last minute. And so was handed a route book and said, here, oh, by the way, he likes everything called in clock faces. 15 minutes to the start. I was like,
Yeah.
okay, well, I could see that going sideways because I just have to say, looks like a 230, and we're off at surfer time. But no, so then, so the first day actually went well. We won the regional overall. We're pretty close to the Tabors Hyundais in the national, and then the second day, as it does at Rim, everything fell apart literally. So the engine and transmission actually separated, and so the car was running, but we couldn't engage a gear, so we were stopped and hoping someone would tow us. Well, Pat and Bradley came along, and they were probably having an equally terrible run as well because they were back where we were, I guess. And they stopped and said, "Can we get a tow?" So I hooked up the thing. Lachlan was already in the car, and I went back to go get the triangle, and I turned around, and there they go. On the stage, and I was like, okay, well, maybe they're just getting it tight. It's fine. No, they went very far away, and so I had a route book in my helmet, suit, and a triangle, and so I ran 2 miles. Then every car that came upon me, I just held the OK sign. And I'll never forget. John Buffum was driving the production Hyundai, the press car, and he came around totally fully committed, and I was standing there, and the look on his face was just. Like,
classic.
What? Where? What? And anyway,
No car, just the driver hanging out.
Yeah, 2 miles up the road, I heard the car idling because Lachlan wouldn't shut it off because it ran. Climbed over a hill and kind of came down on top of him where the car was stopped, and that was the first DNF there, but. Ben and Pat had a miscommunication in the car about waiting for me. So that, yes, my running career in full race suit in Rim weather. And so
And you
fast forward actually to LSPR 2000, I think it was 2000 or 2001.
Yeah.
And we blew the clutch on the GTX. It must have been 2000 because it was 01.
Yeah, it was early, yeah.
And so we got a tow through the last 2 stages by Michael Watala in the Saturn.
Saturn, yeah.
And at speed, and he didn't know he was going to slow down. He was still racing, and we were just on the tow hook, basically. Kevin would push the car into controls, and then we would all check in, and then we'd hook back up, and then Micah would go at speed, basically. And I'll never forget that the final drive back to the MTC being towed, and we passed someone who towed by another competitor, and we were going past them, and we all looked over each other, and we were kind of like, this is not LSPR, I don't know what it is. We finished, the 4 of us all finished relatively close together.
And I was in.
Mark, you need to move your head.
Is it on?
Yeah, there you go.
Well, it screws up my lighting if I come over here.
still in
we were
crazy.
service
Oh.
at that
Oh, see, there goes the
LSPR.
lighting.
Oh, now you're all dark.
We were service.
Hang
We
on.
were in a
hang
four-wheel
on, I'm
drive
working on it.
Ford 250 pickup truck,
There we go.
and we followed them down the stage, and
Yes.
we couldn't keep up with them, even though we weren't towing anybody. The
Sure.
funnier part was the guy who caught up with you and came
Tried to pass you.
alongside you and to pass you,
On
and
stage,
didn't
yeah.
realize there was a car in front of you.
Yeah,
towing
that
you.
was like a clothesline kind of move we had for him. Surprise!
But I was behind you watching that, wondering what could go wrong now.
Everything go around.
Yeah.
Okay, so that would probably be about the time. So late 2000s is when I started pestering you guys for information.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, it sounds about right. Because my first attempt at a rally car was a Corolla GTS.
Mhm.
Uh-huh.
And so I heard about these Tabor people. And they had a Corolla GTS. And so years ago, I talked to Matt on the phone for who even knows how long. And he told me things and whatnot. And then I had
Told him some things.
Yeah. I don't remember.
Maybe
But like I said, like meeting all of you guys are an intense bunch.
What?
No.
Um,
I have to go get my power cord. I'll be right back.
all right, go get your thing.
All right.
Um,
What a planner he is.
but I mean, so you have to keep in mind. So when I started rally, it was like 2000. My first event was 2007. So I met, we'll say, people that probably, well, they're not around the rally community anymore, and for good reason. And they all had
Diplomatic.
kind of
if you will.
alternative motive to wanting
Yeah, work on that
No.
next.
to talk to me about like buying things, stuff of that nature. Anyways, so I had these like group of people that I found out were like scum later on. And then like the Tabors, who are just generally nice people, acted the same way, but didn't have any like negative things with it. So you guys kind of scared me in the beginning.
We can be scary. We can be scary.
No,
A
you can
little
still be
bit,
scary.
yeah.
So come to find out, you guys are a delightful bunch of people, and
Well, thank you.
I thoroughly
Thanks.
enjoy you at events. So
Yeah.
okay, so
We've all
so-
been new, and so we like to help people. So.
right.
I thought one of the best earliest claim to fame that we had was we have this converted farm flatbed trailer. And it has towed more cars off rally stations than anybody in the world.
And not just ours.
And not
Sure.
just ours.
And not just
in fact,
ours,
it's
no.
only towed ours off a couple of times. But we would go up and pull other people off stages and everything. And kind of thought that was part of what you should do when you're out there in the woods.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Well, when we did service areas for Oregon Trail, our philosophy was we're not leaving anybody in the woods, so we would go out and find them and bring them back. Because we
Make
didn't
sure
want
everybody
anybody
gets
sitting out
home.
in the woods waiting for their own crews, so we'd go out and find them and
Yeah.
bring them in. So
Yep.
nobody
Yep.
wants to sit in the woods overnight.
No.
Not if we can help it.
Okay, so Dylan now owns the Corolla, which apparently is being rebuilt by a friend of Garth's. So that's cool.
Oh, good.
Oh, yeah.
The GTX
Sure.
went probably to Orem or
I think Orem has it still.
that or
Yeah.
Cody
Yeah.
Crawford. I mean, let's be real. I feel they own
Well,
the majority of.
Yeah, I mean,
GTX.
I think Orem still has it because we rebuilt the front end. We basically clipped the front end, and then we moved on to other cars, and then decided that needed to go away. So it went with a fresh front clip. I don't know. I'm pretty sure.
Training was what everybody wanted.
Yeah.
Right. Oh yeah,
Well,
yeah.
We were moving on to other cars.
We're
So.
moving
Right.
on to other cars. So the Corolla goes away. Well, it doesn't go away, but for a while. But and
Yeah.
then where?
Because we raced it after he rolled it. We repaired it and we raced or we navigated for him. Well, that was before that. But then Kristen, you navigated for him after the rim roll in the Corolla.
No, it was before. It was the Reno Rally, one of our first events. It was like our second
What about
event.
what about the
And I
June,
co-drove for him.
Oh, yeah.
the June
Reno.
Dryad with the
Reno.
rain
Yeah, you did after.
in the
Reno.
Saab?
Did I do that?
Remember?
Yeah.
Remember Doug
Yeah.
Shrink's
Oh,
Dave
the
Shrink's
Saab.
Saab? Yeah.
No, it was
that was
Nate
in,
Tennis.
uh,
It was
who-
Nate
Oh, Nate
Tennis,
had
this
one
yellow
too.
Saab. It was on a Nawatzel, and we came around a corner, and they had just finished fixing a tire and had literally got in and just closed the driver door when we came by sideways and put a nice black streak down the side of his car. And I said to Matt, "Did we hit him?" And Matt says, "I don't think so." And then we just kept going because
Just kept going.
just keep going.
Maybe they
just
didn't
keep
see
going.
who it was.
Yeah.
that was the
Even-
same.
yeah.
That was the same corner that Jen, my wife, well, not at the time we weren't married. We hit. There was a giant puddle in that corner, and we hit it,
Yeah.
and hydroplaned off and ended up on top of the log pile on that same corner a few cars later. So,
Okay, so Mark,
That's fine.
significant others have been in your car before.
well, just one because I've only been with one person racing. I mean, you know.
Now,
She
Matthew,
actually, well, hang on just a second. So on that regard, so she actually drove or co-drove for Matt's wife in 02 at a Mount Hood
Yeah.
rally. And, after our daughter was born,
Yes.
Mary Ellen watched our 4-week-old, and while we all went out and raced. So
So just was it
Matthew,
for
yeah.
it was just
was
they were in the
a one-off.
Gia, so it was just for
Yeah,
fun.
the Geo.
I don't care. The Geo's a awesome car.
Oh, I've had some
Oh,
fun
I
in the
love
Geo. I've read
All
books in the
58
Geo. I'm
horsepower.
on straight.
Talked about movies and shit.
Mom and I bonded in the Geo.
Well, you have nothing else to do.
Books and movies.
You got only enough time.
You had a lot
It's
of
like being, it's like being in coronavirus, like quarantine. You got nothing else to do.
Well, I will
And
say,
don't touch anything and wash your hands.
I will say, one thing she learned in the Geo was don't lift.
Because you
Right.
couldn't.
Momentum.
Yeah, it started with the MPC and never left.
Yeah,
That's right.
Just modulate with the brakes.
Exactly.
Matthew's wife also co-drove for Matthew.
That's right.
And,
In his
uh,
GTX.
Well,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
but
Matthew
also
forgets.
he drove number 4 Sentra.
Oh yeah.
And I gave him it had a small rod knock.
Sure.
That's right.
This was the first event it had been in. It was the first time she'd ever been in the rally car. And I told him, okay, got a small, we got a new engine. It's got a knock. Don't go over 6,000 RPM. You know, just go out and have a little fun. So he, by all reports, he goes around P corner, and all the spectators are going ooh and ah because he's got the thing pegged up around 7,500
Sure.
RPM.
Well, that's where it
About
likes
a
to
mile
be.
later,
Yeah, that's the only thing
rod throws
goes
right
on
through the
stage.
block.
Otherwise, it just kind of plods along.
And
That's
But
right.
also,
when we
but
got
also, the car was brand new built,
We
and
said,
it
"Oh,
still had
look,
all the
we just moved
interior. It
Yes.
still had all of the
The
sound deadening
dashboard.
equipment, and the dashboard, and the carpet.
Fortunately,
and
I can't hear you.
We had helmets on, and we couldn't hear the engine. So, otherwise, I probably wouldn't have done that.
So Bruce, you said number 4. How many Sentras
Right.
have there been?
Well, it's
There's been
5
4.
technically.
Well,
There's
5 actually.
total, but
5
Current
total.
one is
No, number 1.
no, number 4 is the current one.
Yeah, I
You want to run down the list?
Yeah, I'm
Sure.
going to run down the list.
Okay.
In 1992, I bought my first Sentra SER. They're all SERs. What was known in the day as a pocket rocket. 0 to 60 in under 7 seconds.
he went out.
Front wheel drive.
He went out Christmas shopping. And
On
he
Christmas
came
Eve.
back on Christmas
Christmas
Eve,
Eve.
and he came back and he said, "Well, I bought myself a Christmas present."
Right. That's happened before.
It
Or
wasn't the first
since. We
time.
bought you a Christmas present this
We
year
did.
so that Madeline could have the old one, right? Anyway.
That's right.
So then I had that one in my possession, and then when we started racing, about a month or so after we bought the Corolla, I said, "I'm not gonna get to drive here. The boys are too fast." And so I went out and bought a Sentra SER off a lot on McLaughlin here in Portland, and then we built that, and that was number 2. That lasted until John rolled it. And then number 3 is probably the one that's had the most spectacular time because of John's cutting down trees and Kristen's minor roll. It's a beautiful roll. It's in car is wonderful.
Best
Same
roll.
thing, up a hillside
that's
and down
right.
into the road,
I didn't
right?
go.
Very
I did
minor.
not go up
No,
a
she didn't go up the
hillside.
hillside. She went
Really?
down
Down the
hillside.
hillside.
Yeah,
No, but
downhill
before
side.
that,
Yeah,
how did you
get
fortunately,
upside
down in the
way,
first place?
You would have gone down the other 200 yards.
Sideways, perpendicular
Like that.
travel, but still going
Triple
forward.
South Cow.
Pop up onto the ditch, or pop up
Up
onto
the
the
hillside.
berm,
berm,
and
yes.
On the
then
road.
down, and
Uh-huh.
then down.
Yeah,
But it was
you were
on- it was on the
15 feet in
downhill
the
side.
air.
It was on the
Yeah,
down.
That's where she
It's on the
ended up, but
downhill
she
side.
started
It
up
was
there on
on,
the uphill
uh,
side.
No. I
Salt
didn't
Creek.
start up on the
Smith
up
Creek.
Smith Creek.
Smith Creek.
Fifth Creek,
Yeah.
heading out.
Yeah.
I have a tree.
So if you want to hear the whole story, I'll tell you sometime. But I mean, there was a
Okay,
horse
get out of
worker standing across the street from where she did it, and he says she powered up the berm and was 15 feet in the air and did a nice little
Was
pirouette
not
over onto her top
Yeah.
and down the 200-foot cliff. Except there was a tree in the way, so she stopped about 30 feet down. But it was
Thankfully.
soft berm that she was upside
Yeah.
down on.
Yeah.
And then the in-car takes over where the girls, my lovely wife
We
and
will
my
never
lovely
run audio.
Whose
daughter,
name is Janice.
who's
Yeah.
Janice, yes, yes, and the audio was spectacular. We didn't know Mom knew those words.
Oh, we
She knows
knew
lots
she
of
knew
words.
those
We knew
words.
you knew those
Yeah,
words.
She knows.
yeah, she set the root book down in her lap and it fall to the ceiling.
Like
About
three times.
I think, right? They had fun trying to get out.
Yeah. We had help.
And
We had help.
like
getting out.
all Sentras, including the roll down at Rim of the World, we flipped the
Mhm.
car back over on its feet, tugged it back up on the road, and I drove it
Mhm.
off down to the road down to service.
Brooklyn Tavern,
Uh,
yep.
Every time
Brooklyn, yeah.
I've driven the Sentras off the road. Yeah.
After you've driven
So-
them off.
Except for,
no.
except
After
Except for
somebody
that
else
one
took them
time-
off the road.
except for that one time where you blew the engine, and then in number 4, and then Mom and I
Well,
went by
yeah,
in number 3
blowing
and,
the engine.
and said, "Oh, goody, we moved up a place." And
Yes, don't get it. Yeah, blowing the engine doesn't count.
It's
That's
like
not
what-
the same as an accident.
What's that
That's-
smoke coming out
Yeah,
down
right.
there?
why
Oh,
does it smell
look
so
at
bad?
that.
Oh,
It
Well,
was mostly steam.
we can't help him now. Keep going.
Yeah,
Keep going.
right. Yeah, I put the fire out too. Thanks for stopping.
No,
You're
we're
welcome.
going to stop.
heck no.
When we get in the race cars, it's a totally different story for all of us.
Sure.
We are definitely competitors at that point.
Okay,
I
so
wave as I go by.
all right, so let's move on in cars here. So,
Yeah.
Kristen and Jan, you guys are in the Geo, right?
Yeah.
We were, yeah, at one point, yeah.
For about
After
3
the
years.
Nissan.
We'll call the Corolla being retired.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yes.
Now
Sold.
there's the or I'm sorry, sold. Well, yeah, but it wasn't sold until like
Oh, yeah.
it was
It was
a while
later.
for a while. Yeah.
sitting
It's
around
bad.
for
It was in the 2000s.
That's fair.
So then you guys built an Acura.
Bought an
Actually,
Acura.
before that, we
Yeah,
built
go
another
down.
GTX, 323 GTX. So we had
Right,
two
the black one.
GTXs at a time, the black one, Mats.
Uh-huh.
And wow, you got
What are you
really close
doing?
there, Kristen.
I'm getting
Wow.
comfortable.
Extreme close up. I didn't know that was a thing, but and then
Sorry.
everybody's gonna do it now. Great. And then so the 323 GTX, and then and then the Acura we didn't build, we bought,
Right.
which was Eric Dawson's car he built to run the National Series in 2003, and which was a Guy Light built car. And to build a brand new car, and then we fell into that in early 04,
Okay.
and campaigned it in 04.
And
after-
won the national championship
yeah,
So
for
in
production.
production class.
So you showed up
and-
to every
The last SCCA
That's the last
National Protection
SCCA.
Championship.
Yeah,
That's
the
right.
last SCCA production championship.
We
won
actually
it.
had competition at every event. We never.
Yes, we did.
Oh, okay.
So,
Well, yeah, I know, but did they follow you around the country?
yeah, well, a lot of them did. We kind of had
Yeah.
the East Coast people, and then the West Coast people, and then
I was
like
near-
Ojibwe, and we did Pikes Peak, we did Colorado Cog. Those were kind of had the same.
LSPR.
So LSPR we didn't do LSPR with the Acura. We did it
Oh,
with-
that's right. That's because at COG you broke.
we
You got
Yeah.
your points.
well we got
Okay,
the one
so-
and we broke the car.
So what inspired you to go do a national championship other than
We had a
car-
car.
The car coming available.
It was there.
That's basically it. It was
Super
opportunistic.
strong.
And we knew it, and we
Super
knew it
strong
would win it.
car.
Yeah.
We knew
fast,
it, yeah, it had the ability.
Very competitive plus, and at the right
Except for the rear
price.
suspension.
Well,
Yeah, that just
there are
drags
some
along
things
behind anyway. It's front wheel drive.
about it. But
Yes,
no,
there are.
it was, yeah.
And we got a driver that we knew could
partly because
get it to the top too. So
promised Trevor that we would go and win the national championship with his car. So it was a good deal. We enjoyed it.
Fair enough. Yeah. So then you imported some tires for a while.
We started doing that in '99, actually.
Super early, yeah.
I still own a crap ton of them, guys. So
do we.
So do we.
So yeah.
We should have a garage sale.
Yeah, no, you should. I'll come over and buy them all.
Okay.
All right, well, and mute so we can tell you when it is, and then everyone just read lips.
Yeah. Right. No, seriously, like if I was to show you a picture of my my rally tire hoarding corner, I don't know why I keep buying them.
Yeah.
Except when they just come up for really good deals, I'm like, oh, I should buy these.
Exactly. Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Because I'll go through a set in 6 years.
Everyone's in the hobby.
Well, you know, and mine's collecting rally cars and tires. Okay, so
sounds like ours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so when did you get the 99?
What?
1999.
The 1999
The Subaru?
You girls.
That's new.
Well,
That was
my street car.
That's what I'm saying.
He bought it new.
Well, I drove it.
Did
we
you?
built it? No.
I've forgotten that part. There's so many cars.
We built it later on than that, like 2008.
No, he bought it.
7?
Yeah.
5.
He bought it and took it up to Thunderbird.
Up to T-Bird.
Up to T-Bird.
Yeah, we did a few Canadian road rallies, which is we define those closely as performance rallies without the safety.
Because Paul Westwick, who sets them up at the time, I think he still does.
Was running
he still does.
on. Yeah.
Hold it. There we go.
Yeah, he still puts them on.
Yeah. And so at one point there was a story going around. I don't know if it's true, but I believe it. I totally.
You just repeat it.
He would Paul Westwick would go out when he's setting the average speeds for T-Bird.
We can't hear Matt.
You can't hear me?
I can hear Matt.
Oh God, I can hear him very well.
You guys. Okay, good.
Okay.
So he would take his prepared stage rally car. That's because you're sharing them earpieces. That's the problem. And never mind. So he would take his prepared stage rally car out, go out and run through the stages as fast as he felt comfortable in his prepared stage rally car, and then he would add 10% and set that as the cast for the average speed for Thunderbird.
Sure. No.
And then we would come in our regular street cars and run T-Bird. Yeah, it was a good time.
In a very snowy, icy.
He still does that. Yeah.
Oh, talking about
it's fun. T-Bird.
It's good.
Yeah. With them?
Hang on, let me text our parents.
Oh, okay. No.
We can hear everybody, but Matt.
What?
I've been trying to mute him for hours.
That's all right. It's about that's the way it goes.
She's texting me.
Who's texting you?
Right. Kristen's texting you because you can see the subtle staring down.
Dylan says you need to drop and rejoin.
Yes. So rejoin again, guys.
Yeah.
Rejoin again, right? Yeah.
This is a drinking game. This is where you
How do we rejoin?
Dropping and rejoining.
The link in the chat.
Just leave and then go back to and then just open the link again.
Who?
From the chat.
What?
You don't know what it is.
I don't know why I'm explaining it. They can't hear me.
Yeah. Thanks for explaining. We're just all agreeing with you. Yeah, what Matt said. Just do what Matt said.
Yeah. Do that. Oh, look at that big hand.
Whoa! Bye. There you go. Quick, talk about another one.
All the real story. No. Okay. So there was another GTX.
Right.
Then
a black one.
A black one.
Well, technically, we had 4 of them, technically, but we only
at one point, because that's how you keep 2 going.
Yeah, actually, funny story on the first GTX. So we bought the first GTX by my wife and I. We flew sight unseen back to North Carolina with a one-way ticket.
I remember.
Bought the car for $1,200 in a storage, and then drove it back across country. We went 4 states with no license plates, and we were in Ohio. And we were checking out of the hotel, and a sheriff came up and actually said, "You may not leave. You don't have any plates," and actually took Jen, who's not my wife at the time, aside because he was concerned that she was being held against her will. But fortunately, the trip permit was being FedExed because we flew out on a Friday, I think, and bought it on a Saturday, and then anyway. And so it was being FedEx, so it arrived but the sheriff wouldn't let us leave the hotel until it arrived. So we drove it the rest of the way across country, built to a rally car. Then fast forward like 2 more years, I think, and we needed a parts car. So it was a parts car for sale in Wisconsin. And so in December of '99, I went to WSU where Jen was at school, picked her up with all of her stuff because she was leaving WSU, and we drove in December across North Dakota or Montana, North Dakota, all the way over to Wisconsin and bought a car with a blown turbo because we needed a shell and a parts car at the time for some reason that I don't remember. But it was $600, and why not? So then on the way back is when we froze over everything in North Dakota at negative degrees and got kicked out of a truck stop because they thought we were loitering trying to steal things. So GTXs, yeah. I think we still own the last remaining brand new oil pan for GTX. I think we still have that.
Sure, so you should throw that up on eBay. It's probably good worth it.
I'm kind of waiting for my retirement. I think that's right.
Well, so never. Okay.
So never.
So yeah, GTXs were a thing, and then Nissans were back a thing afterwards. Because then I drove a Nissan, the number 3 one, when Western States was a thing, Western States Rally Championship, and broke a few things like motors, wheels, brakes, mostly brakes actually.
Motor mounts.
Oh yeah, those are
exhaust.
Yeah, and then I think when did we start doing Subaru? I think the year 5RS was the first Subaru that we built.
Yeah, mine was the first Subaru we built I don't know when it was. 7, 8?
I don't think it's that late because that's when we built the WRX, the Great WRX, because we debuted that.
Oh, yeah, so it was probably before. So it must have been 5 or 6 then.
Must be.
I don't know. I just get hand-me-downs.
Not
anymore. Not anymore. You're getting a brand new built car.
That's right.
Yay. It's so pretty.
Yeah.
That's all I'm going to say about that.
Yeah.
Okay. So we've moved past GTXs. We're on the 4th. Wait, what happened to the 5th Sentra?
Well, it hasn't been built yet.
It's still here.
Still up there.
Parked.
Oh.
Waiting.
That's what I want to do is go back to the Sentra.
Yeah, it's still up there.
But I want to get the turbo motor. Back to that. No, that's not true. You've needed parts off of that thing.
Oh yeah.
But I haven't needed structural units.
Not need. Well, we needed some parts off of it too, but that's a different story.
Oh yeah, we've taken lots of parts off of it.
Yeah. Well, so haven't needed it is been.
Yeah.
But it's come in handy to have. So yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
It's about parted out, I think.
I personally remember driving out to your house and getting parts for the GTX for Phil.
Right.
Yeah.
You can just look behind the right bush, you'll find the part. I mean,
right.
Yeah.
There's a GTX or a Sentra sitting around some bush out there.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so the 2.5 RS.
This is
That was
Sprite and an MGB GT
and then the WRX.
There's a lot of old cars too.
Well,
The WRX.
So after we built the RS, though, Mark, was the WRX. Your silver WRX was next, right?
Yeah, we debuted that in 08, I think.
Yeah.
Correctly.
Okay, so at this point, Kristen, were you in the Acura by then?
Yeah.
Was I, or was it still Sentra?
I think wasn't the Pomeroy event your first Acura event?
I think it was my first. That was my first Acura event. Ooh.
Yeah.
Pomeroy.
Wait.
Good road to have.
I
Good
love
roads to
Pomeroy.
have that car in, though.
I love Pomeroy.
I like the air conditioning.
Oh yeah.
No radio though.
No.
There's no radio out in Pomeroy anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Hey, if you have the right navigator, a la Ben Bradley, then you have your own DJ built in.
Yes, agreed. I had Ben Bradley as my navigator as well at one point. So.
I have not had Ben Bradley yet.
Okay.
Well,
get out your punch cards, kids. Let's
That's
see
right.
who needs one.
All right. So let's hold on.
Moving.
Okay, So let's back up just a scotch. Jan, when did you decide to co-drive?
Decide. So
How
sweet.
is that?
She had a choice.
2000, 2001.
2001.
2001. We
So it
had
was your
gone-
first event when you rolled, right?
Yes,
Yes,
that
it
was our
was.
very first event. Yes.
Perfect.
Get it out of the way.
Get it out of the way, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I still haven't rolled, so
You're
I'm
in trouble now.
Yeah, you're in trouble now.
Oh, no.
That's something you never want to say.
I know.
No, Kristen had co-driven for Mark at Tree Line and kept throwing up. And our nice friend Jay Street said, "Well, why don't you put her in the driver's seat? Because you're not,
Mhm.
you won't get penalized for trading." Mark navigated, she drove, and then she said, "Oh, I really like this."
Haven't been able to get her out of a car yet.
So then she needed somebody to ride with her. So I
Well,
said,
And
"Sure."
we bought the Geo to make sure that they would be okay.
The Geo was
after they rolled.
after the
The Geo was
Nissan.
after
Yeah.
the
Had to
Nissan.
roll the car
That was
first,
punishment.
and then
That was
I
like,
got
Oh
to
yeah,
do it.
after you rolled the
That-
Nissan, I gave you
that-
something you
That
It's
trouble
something
It was
that
an egg.
literally you couldn't get fast enough to roll.
Really.
Yeah, that
Oh,
was
I want
kinda-
to try.
yeah.
I'll try.
that roll was
People tried.
actually. I knew she was out of
Yeah.
out of the
Control.
line, and I figured she knew that, and I didn't know enough to say, "What the hell are you doing?" So I didn't.
Or
Well,
to
I
just
don't
feed
know.
her like
So
the other
I kept
navigators
waiting for
do.
her to get back on the line, and she was out in the marbles, and that was the end of it. So I
Muddy
learned, I
marbles.
learned quite a bit from that. Yeah, I learned that I need to speak up, and I have several times.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Good. Okay.
She does
So
the mom voice.
now we can come forward. So now we've got Kristen in the Acura, the RS, and the WRX. Now there's an STI that shows up.
That showed up in 2013, the Oregon Trail.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it was 13. Was it 13? Or was it before that? I don't remember.
I don't
I
remember.
don't either.
I think that sounds
All
right.
blur.
Well, no, I could be
close
right because
enough.
it must have been 2012 because 13 we blew the motor at Idaho and we remarked that we had gotten 7 events out of that motor and we were happy with that.
Right, because it was a used car when we bought it.
Right. So that car came along. That was Kyle Schmidt's daily driver, which everyone seems to know that car. I think
Happy we got
guy
7
that-
events out of it. So
the guy who replaced the windshield for us once was like, "Oh, this car's been rolled. I can tell you why and how." It's like it's probably no worse than what we're doing to it. So just replace the windshield and get out of it. So that car came about. Actually, if you take a step back in the WRX, we had blown a transmission at one point in time, and we really thought, if we could just get a better, more reliable transmission, the actual car was well built and it was strong and well balanced, and I actually liked that car quite a bit and tuned, so it actually went well. And if we just solved the weak transmission problem, so that's really what we're looking for. But then the 6-speed came with a whole car. So, so like, well, what are you gonna do? And then that car got built.
We did the
I remember picking up
STI
that car.
for 2013, Mark.
Okay, see, someone's gonna fact check me. It's like a press
I
conference.
am.
Right. Generally, Doug's in here to fact check all my poor ideas. So.
We just have Dylan and Cody tonight. So
Where's your chaperone?
I don't have any
She's
chaperones.
right here.
Dylan jump in with correcting me. I don't.
Dylan knows it's fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hi, Dylan.
Got a car with a transmission. Matt starts beating the crap out of the WRX. Chris
Yeah,
goes in
literally.
RS. Bruce is still in the Sentra. God bless him.
He's happy there. Well, yeah.
Yeah.
You know what?
I am happy there.
Bruce, like, I aspire to have a Sentra. Like, maybe
Yeah.
not,
We have,
You
we
should
have
have
several.
one.
but like the
Yeah.
symbolic nature of the Sentra, of
Yeah.
like, God, you have more fun than probably most people.
Mhm.
Yeah,
I
probably
enjoyed
so.
driving the Sentra. The
No,
Sentra was a
Yeah,
hoot.
it's a fun car
Yeah.
to drive.
It's a
and I
hoot.
mean, it goes well, and like after it was stolen and I recovered it and we raced in Olympus at the next rally, I passed 4 cars on each of the first 2 stages and won my class that weekend.
That was just the leftover meth that was making you go faster.
Yeah, right. Probably so.
Great.
Didn't it come home with
To
a
the gas tank.
or something too?
Oh, it came with a lot of
They
things.
came in with a lot of stuff.
Yeah, it came
I
up with
said
a
a
lot
blank
of stuff.
keys.
When the
Giant
policeman
crowbar.
caught up with me and verified that I had a car, I told him, a 1991, because that's a little older, red Nissan Sentra. There was a pause, and then he says, well, it's not red anymore. Because the guy rattle can spray painted it black.
Right.
After he took a grinder to all the stickers, but we were going to remove the stickers anyway, so we just saved us a step.
Now we know how to get stickers off.
Yeah, it came with some of the best bolt cutters I've ever owned.
Oh, great.
There was a Crown Royal bag with about 1,000 keys in it.
Shave keys.
Save
Shave
keys,
right?
I could open any door between here and Olympia. And there was a whole set of 3 or 4 amplifiers in the back.
Well, you got to have your tunes. You got a whole stereo.
Got to have your tunes.
Giant
a brand new
speaker.
stereo in it.
Yeah, it's nice Kenwood. It's actually quite nice.
Probably stolen too.
Yeah, it's a nice one.
Yeah.
Probably is stolen.
Yeah, I'm sure it was.
But he wired it up, so that's we don't care. He wired it up.
He wired it
He
up.
did this. He wired the
really
speakers.
gave it to Steve, so it's okay.
All right, fair enough.
Yeah, the Sentra is just a fun car to drive.
It is.
And it is, if you're not as competitive as the rest of these people around here, you just go out and have fun,
Well, so that's like me when I used to like the Mighty Max.
Yeah.
Like I should have never sold that damn thing. Like
Correct.
okay.
Yeah.
Like that was the most fun I've ever had. Like this stupid thing, like I can't even fit in it, and I'm not even that tall. I mean,
it's a pretty yellow though. I mean,
it is a good yellow. It is a good yellow.
Like a banana.
Yeah.
I had to cut a hole in the floor just so I could fit.
So you're doing the
Oh my
Fred Flintstone
gosh.
style, huh?
Wait, is that illegal power source by putting your?
Fred Flintstone.
But no, yeah. I mean,
Matt, you're out of drink.
Again.
That's loud. That's really loud, by the way.
Sorry. All right. I won't rattle the ice near my microphone.
We should all aspire to have a Sentra, maybe symbolically.
Absolutely.
There we go. Yeah.
Well,
I'd like to go back to that. I'd go back to it
fun.
after I'm done with
Go
the
back.
SCI. I'm going back to it.
Oh, I'd
But I
wanna
totally do it.
I want to get the turbo motor from Australia.
Build
Nah,
it for him.
Nah,
I think it'd be awesome.
So
you don't need it.
Matt killed the WRX.
Matt killed
Yes.
the WRX.
My first event at OTR after being chairman for so long.
Right.
Yes,
Yeah.
he did.
All right.
Poor
Now,
Danae.
The
Yeah.
She's fine.
Mazda 3.
I have a 3 now, yeah.
Was that?
That was built
That-
by Barrett Dash.
Yeah, okay, that's what I thought.
Mhm.
Kristen was in the RS.
Mhm.
Mark is still in the STI, but now Kristen is going to something else.
Maybe, yeah. Mhm, yeah. mhm.
Sooner or
Yes, we
later.
are.
And
Hopefully this year.
Same family.
Smurfette.
In theory, this year,
Beautiful blue.
a beautiful blue. Her name is Smurfette because, blue.
Sure.
And we just have to, replace the motor and suspension and
Hey, the hard part's
seats.
done.
Just coming out of the gray
The
car.
dash is in, so that's
We are stripping the
This guy.
WRX
Thanks,
of
Mark.
everything we can.
yeah, we're
Except
pillaging.
for the trunk, which is
No,
bent
that's
in
fine.
half.
Yeah, I'm not taking anything with the
No,
trunk.
you don't need
Cut
body
everything you
parts.
can.
I did steal the radio.
that's important.
Yeah, heck yeah.
No, for real. Like
No,
AC.
absolutely. I need
Cody
air
Cody wants to know if you're
conditioning,
getting
a
the AC.
radio.
No AC.
Yes,
No
yes,
AC.
Yes. Oh,
No.
yes, yes,
No.
yes, yes.
No, I need it.
We're
dude,
having the
I'm not
AC.
joking. Like I need AC.
I need
Like-
AC.
Everybody
Yes.
should have AC.
Yes.
Steve told us we could have AC.
So we get AC.
There.
Okay,
I need
so-
a radio.
Steve-
I need cup holders. I need.
Steve ain't here, is he? So I guess you're gonna have a real problem with that.
Hey,
Oh,
Mark.
well.
I know where you work.
Yeah,
Oh,
most days.
I know where you're off.
sleep.
Yes.
Okay, so
Oh
now,
yeah, there's that too. So
Bruce. So the Sentra with cage thingies. I don't know.
Yeah.
We chatted.
Oh,
about that
yeah, it's
briefly.
going to have to be totally redone.
Basically, yeah,
Maybe
new
done.
cage is like $4,000, and it takes $2,000 to take the old one out.
You don't have to take the
That-
old one out.
Yeah, you do,
Yeah.
because all
Oh,
the
you haven't
pipes are
seen
even
it.
the wrong size. You can't repipe it like a house.
Right, but it was built under the SCCA stuff, right?
Yeah. Yep.
So was that thing. I'm all
Yeah.
into the gas tubing. I'm just saying, like, there is you
Taking
can
them out.
still do it.
Well, don't tempt me.
uh,
Hi,
No,
Henry.
Hi,
not
Henry.
you. You
my
should,
man child.
before you totally write it off, inquire with like Dave Clark, because you
Yeah.
really only need a couple bars to update.
Hi.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
But
Yeah. I've got the girls' card. I've
okay,
gotta
so that
finish it.
that was then going to be my question. Are you now going to take? What are you going to take? What, so the RS?
The Acura. He's going to
the
take the
Acura.
Acura.
The
Wait.
RS, the RS
The Acura went
belongs-
away.
We
No,
still
it's
have it.
here.
No,
No, it's
Oh,
still
it's
here.
Yeah.
still
All
here.
right.
We don't
I mean,
get
like-
rid of all the cars that we stop running.
We
But
don't
I
get
mean,
rid of
real.
some
I'm
cars.
doing.
We don't get rid of anything. Let's be fair.
Yeah.
GTXs, we got rid of all the GTXs.
Okay, fair that. All right.
For somebody that's never
The
been a
R-
Tabor, I'm keeping up with your guys' cars quite well.
Are you
The
writing
RS
them down too, so
actually-
you can refer to it later? Because you'll
No,
need to.
it's all up here.
Okay. All right.
The
Which one's you?
RS actually has been spoken for by Mark's daughter Madeline, and Matt's daughter Haley is expressed an interest to co-drive for her, and so we're going to develop them. It'll probably take a year or so for them to get up to where they might be able to get in the car. So
Yeah.
That would be awesome.
That would be
Yeah,
very
we're making
awesome.
them do some rally crosses and learn how to drive
Well,
a,
sure.
a stick shift.
Matt,
A
Yeah.
stick shift, yeah.
yeah, yeah. There's that.
Mark took Henry down our driveway here
Okay.
yesterday,
Yep.
teaching him
The
how to drive
Fiesta.
stick shift.
And the
Fiesta,
mighty
right.
blueberry.
Fiesta.
That's
The
Blue
blueberry.
Thunder to you.
Blue
Thunder. Oh,
Thunder,
sorry.
sorry.
Blue Thunder.
It has a nickname. We drug it all across the country last summer, so it's got a
Yeah, we did. You did.
Yeah.
At one point in time, we the assembled group here, I think, had 28 cars.
Sure, that seems like a reasonable number.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
spread out amongst all of us.
28.
Yeah.
Really? I haven't counted. That's,
Yeah, that's a lot.
That's true.
I think it went to 30 at one point, and I stopped counting.
They had 18,
All right.
and we had 10 amongst the three of us. So
Yeah, that's about right.
Why if,
Are we talking
why
like
if-
street cars too?
well, what about
or-
the what about
Yes.
the,
Yes.
what about
Yeah.
the
Oh,
Hood
yeah.
We have Hooded Coast fans too.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
that's the coast
Yeah,
bands
right.
too.
Don't forget
the
our
RV,
sketch
Yeah,
van.
the two service
Sketch van,
trucks,
yeah. The free candy
the
van.
3-car hauler.
2 quarter midget trailers. at the
and a
moment.
partridge in a pear tree.
And a partridge in
And
a
a
pear
couple
tree.
motorhomes.
Yeah, which one's for sale, by the way? Anyone want to buy an RV? We'll make you great
Oh,
deals.
Anybody wants? Yeah. We've got a great motorhome.
Three
Totally redone.
Saab 96s, MGB GT,
Metropolitan.
a Bug Ice
Nash.
Sprite,
Nash.
two
Two
Nash
Metropolitans.
Metropolitans.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
None of them actually run, by the way. Just FYI, nothing actually runs, but we have them.
Well,
No,
sure,
yeah,
and that's the
no.
important part of hoarding.
That's right.
That you have them.
Is that you have
With the best intentions of doing something with them.
them. Well, they may start, but they may not drive, and so there's a difference between the
Well,
two.
see,
Well,
that's-
they may
that's
start,
already
but they may
been
not stop.
crap ever
That's
owns.
one.
I mean, if it starts and runs, shit, it's like.
Well, it's in some cases, as Kristen pointed out, it's actually stopping them. That's the problem. So,
Maybe
Oh,
the
well.
brakes are not so worky.
exactly. Not so worky. Is that your technical term?
Uh-huh.
Yes,
Yeah.
technical. This is why I don't usually work on cars that much, because I don't know anything.
Stop.
I can hand tools like a boss, though.
There you go. You know,
I don't know. I thought we were pretty good when we stripped that car inside. I thought we did.
God,
really
it was
good.
so much fun.
It was so cool. We took things out we didn't need to take out just because we could.
Sure, why not? No, never underestimate the any position in service. Is all I ever say.
Oh,
True.
absolutely.
That's right.
Oh,
And-
absolutely.
You
Yeah.
can wash a window. You are an important the team.
That's right. If you can wash a window, you can probably make a headlight out of a Gatorade bottle.
Seriously,
Yeah.
when she was going to go service for Phil, and I was like, never underestimate just like being able to wash
feeding
a window, like
or feeding the people, making sure people eat.
Yeah.
yes,
That's
something like
important.
Yeah.
It's a good thing.
It is.
it is wonderful, wonderful thing. So, all right, so we'll probably, what are we at? We're in April. Trail's done. I don't really envision Idaho. That's just you know.
Maybe.
I hope it does go. I want to go.
Yeah.
So like the rumor is like Olympus later in the year. Steve is always saying that he only needs a couple days and to get permits and everything. So whatever
Yeah,
you can do,
he's lucky.
once we're like released into the world, I'm really excited to get back into racing because I mean, as much as I love doing these things, God damn it, I hate doing these things because it means
You know what I miss?
Rallying, yeah, right.
Well, actual rallying, but I miss road beers. Mark knows what I'm talking about.
The parking
Road
lot beers.
beers.
Why
We had to
lot beers.
rename them for legal purposes. They're parking lot beers.
Parking lot beers.
Parking lot beers, yeah.
wine in a
Parking lot
can?
beers.
You can't beat wine,
Wine in a can can't beat wine
On
in
the
a can.
side of the
You
road.
can do wine in a can,
Side of the
but
road.
But
Yep.
the glass in the car is kind of a problem. So.
yes, exactly.
It's
yeah.
Oh no,
a can.
it's a
turns into like
can.
a container.
When we were off in Idaho, when we went off,
Wine in a can.
we had 2 cans of wine for the end.
Mhm.
And we thought, well, what the hell? We'll just break them out now.
It is the
Why
end.
not?
It's the end for you.
I was almost at the end.
We was our end. We were done.
Yeah.
Hey, Mr. Weaver, the whole the fact that you don't, maybe this is not your ideal thing. When we were doing a chat with Billy Irvin, and one of the things that when I got done with it, I thought, this is like being at an ATC with a delay. You're just, we're just having that conversation that doesn't, the content doesn't really matter. It doesn't have to be super deep. It's that content piece where you get that interaction between people like you would if you were delayed at a rally.
No, I know. And that's literally all this is about, is just to keep talking about the stuff.
Right?
Hanging out.
Robert
Seeing our
Colbert
friends.
and Cody Crawford and all the other yahoos I hang out with, we generally just sit around and BS about really bad car ideas. And a pre-runner Volvo 240 is a good idea.
Of course it is.
Of course it is. But,
You won't know unless you do it. So you should do it just to see if,
I feel like it probably isn't going to be a good idea. That's just going to be the same.
That one might be a pretty much you could guess in advance. You don't need to actually do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cody is very persistent about it. So every time I talk to him, it's all about
farm tractors.
Farm
They're
tractors.
they're considered farm tractors in Sweden.
Oh yeah, no, for sure.
Oh yeah.
I'm an old
Maybe
Saab
we can
guy,
pick up.
and that's what we called them, was farm tractors.
They are farm tractors.
do it
And,
anyway.
I don't know why I lust over them, but God, they're ugly.
Yeah.
Hey, I just sorry to interrupt, but I found the footage from ESPN we were talking about earlier, so I'm putting it in the chat. I'm putting the link to it in the chat box right now.
Okay.
Oh, I'm in private chat. I gotta come over here so I can watch it
Oh,
too.
yeah.
So
Yeah,
Fingers.
there you go.
Yeah, there you go, Mark.
I don't know.
We come on at about 5 minutes, a little after 5 minutes into the it's a 30-minute, it's the whole show, the whole ESPN show for the Rim of the World that year, and at about 5 minutes just after that is where they start getting us.
Where did you send?
people talking?
He
Where
thinks
did you
he
send it?
somewhere. He
I
probably
put it in
put
the
it
chat box.
you put it in the
Which
private
chat
one or the
box?
public?
No, the live one, the public one.
All
What? How do I get that, Chep? I'm sorry.
Oh,
I'm really
yeah.
new at this.
This is what happens.
I don't
when
want to
you
talk to you people.
So
I
there's
only
a
want
whole
to talk to
life
new people.
going on at the same time while we're talking.
Yeah, I just figured that out. It's like,
You missed
whoa,
it.
look at these
By the
people over
way-
here.
Missed it.
Like,
Found
We
it.
gotta go. We gotta scroll back up and respond. Come on, Chris, who's with me? Get your big hands up in here.
20 minutes ago, there was somebody said something. Hold on, I know the answer.
That's right. Yes. I can
Okay,
respond
but I
to
don't-
that now.
I don't
Perfect.
see the link.
You see link? Oh, okay. Weird.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
come on,
failed
Matt.
that.
Private chat or
You failed.
It's mostly just Cody Crawford talking. That's the only person in.
But
Well,
I
I know.
like Cody. He's funny.
Cody's the best.
like
I always
Cody.
see him
Cody's the
coming.
best.
He had to
we
go get
love-
groceries
Yes.
though, so he left. So
Oh,
What?
Oh,
that's what he said. He had to go get groceries.
This hour, I thought they were all. No, whatever.
No.
You can share your screen too, Matt.
Oh, you
Yeah,
want me to do
Matt.
that?
That might
Yeah,
just be easier, and then you can share the audio,
yeah,
and we
click
can.
the button and do the thing.
Who
Right.
has
Hold
the Who has the live or the footage of the girl
Which-
or the with all the uncensored version? All the
It's on the server,
Oh,
Mark.
The edited-
yeah, I don't
the
have
only
that.
one we
It's
found is
I just have the
edited
ESPN version.
No,
I
not
believe-
queued up.
your second. Yeah, man. All
I
right,
believe, Mark, I believe it's on the
Oh,
server
Malik.
at work.
I'll have to go find
Oh,
it.
darn.
There's
You guys
a
are-
number of things.
On a daily basis, so you could look.
All right,
Probably.
hold on here.
All right. Apparently, it's only taken Matt an hour to find it and queue it up. So.
He's got to get to 5 minutes and 34 seconds.
For his four
Yeah, wrong
seconds of fame.
Finding the. I'm getting past all the other stuff. Nobody wants to hear about Cosmedes or Bill Malik.
What's
So,
going on over there, down there?
All right. Are you guys ready? Okay, here we go. I'm
Okay.
gonna share my screen.
Screen
I'm gonna
first, start playing it.
He
Right.
talks with his hands.
Okay, is
Italian.
this working? Share
No,
my
I just see your face.
Screen.
I just.
It's
see
not
your
working.
face.
Chrome
It's not
tab.
working.
Hold on.
Share screen.
Hold on. I have to pick the one. Okay, is this working?
Now
No.
we get to.
Yes.
Oh, there we go.
So now,
Hey,
if you
there's-
want to
make
Here we
bigger.
go.
make bigger,
Make the theater. Yes.
Yeah, hold on here. I'll back it up just a skosh. Oh, that's probably too far.
No, it's just.
Oh, this is the end of Ralph Cosmedes talk. Here's Malik.
No, it's Bill Malik. Yeah.
oh, and a Volvo. See,
Oh yes,
Yeah.
in the tractor.
the check.
Okay, here we go. Right here.
Here we are.
There's sound.
See?
Matt, is there
Oh.
sound?
Up the hill,
Oh,
and
what
there's
do
the
you-
route.
Oh.
The arms are-
Down.
Hey, Matt, is there noise to go along with this? Oh, look, there's Matt.
Oh,
and
here's
Chris.
your
Speaking. Here, watch. See, there's the tree root.
Oh, slow-mo.
Oh, slow motion.
over. Be like, well, so we were going pretty hard.
We're pushing.
super fast, man. Like super
How do I stop this? Okay,
We don't know how to stop it. That's why we're here.
You're fine.
You can't stop it, Matt.
there we go. We're back.
You can't stop.
Does that work?
You can't stop.
Yeah, you're
the
back.
cor-
Okay, good.
Okay, good.
It's just
All
me
right.
now?
Generally, I like to keep these things around an hour because let's be real, nobody wants to look at me. I mean, everybody.
They're not looking at you, they're looking at
told
us.
you, Matt.
Don't worry
They're
about it.
looking at us.
Yeah, good
I
job.
love you guys and miss every single one of your faces, and I can't wait until we go see each other in real life again.
Oh, we can't
That
wait
would
to
be
see
very
you.
nice.
Yeah.
Hugs.
So, thank you,
Hugs.
everybody, for
Virtual
coming.
hugs.
Hugs.
Yeah.
Well, Matt's not a hugger.
I am
Yes,
usually.
he is. Matt's a big hugger.
That's a
Mark's
hugger. I was not the hugger, I thought.
That's true, yeah.
Okay.
Thank you very much for coming. And thank you,
Thanks
everybody,
for inviting us.
Thanks for having us, Matt.
Yeah.
with us,
Yeah.
and we'll do this again sometime because you guys are
Yeah,
hilarious.
this is fun.
We'll sit
We
around
have
for a
more
line
stories.
next time.
That was
We
only like
have more
stories.
20% of our stories too. So
Oh,
Yeah.
right. And
Yeah.
now Kristen found the live chat. So, I mean, like,
yeah, now
Yeah,
we got that going for us.
it's like a whole new
People
thing for her.
talking and stuff.
Oh,
We'll see you
And
guys
learn
later.
Matt.
All right,
Okay.
thanks.
Hey,
Okay.
thank